Okay, so this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. We just entered a short on this bar right here. Our entry is we have a fractal trendline break. We have closed behind our last fractal, and let's see if there's anything else. Fractal trendline break, closed behind our last fractal, and we've had our last we're underneath our last big delta push up. So the entry on the trade was 70.24. Let's call it 70.25. It's 70.24.95 technically, right? And we're looking for it to either roll back down and retest that 70.14 or better, right? So this is where the entry occurred. This is where our stop was sitting. And now we just sit and wait and see if it actually works. The difficulty about this trade, of course, is that the market's rolling straight up, and it could end up rolling right against us at the end of the day. And normally I wouldn't take this trade. It's just so I can demonstrate it in real time. So let's see where it goes. The logical target and where I'd want to cover this trade is right there, 70.14 to 70.12, and that is where I will close the position out. If it blows up, okay, I'm not taking a scale, but I could obviously scale the 25 for 22 if I wanted to right now. And again, the risk I run, end of the day, is that they're going to sweep me back up. But that's all right. Again, this is just for teaching purposes. And the other thing I want to watch is a downside fractal get formed and then close above it. It would run it the other way, which would be an immediate cover, right? And of course, the other choice you have now is that it's closed below, right? You can move your stop to break even, but because of the upness, it's very likely to come back and backside test that location and still get the roll, right? So let's just see how it ends up closing out. Again, I would not recommend shorting with 10 minutes left to go in the regular session, just because you're going to end up competing with algos and buy orders and all kinds of crap that's no fun. But the target would be the 70.14 extended target down. If we were to really roll, would actually be this all the way down here, 86 to 84. So that's the extended target down. So see how we've come up? We've backside tested. You see the at least attempted initial rejection, right? Anyways, I'm going to put this on pause for a second and talk to y'all. We'll just let it record its way out. Hopefully we get this roll here, straight into 12, into this 14-16 location down here. And again, I'm trading very small given the time of day. Again, I can cover at any point, but I'm going to see if I can't get this push all the way down, right? May not be able to. There's a low volume node here if you look to the left, so it's likely to get a counter rotation. And again, if you're actually short from 25, right, you actually have 4 points in the trade. It's not a horrible trade at this point, $80 a contract. I just think we're going to come down and test this guy right here, right? Inside, there's multiple ways to manage that. You can either scale it, right, put net break even. You can scale, take the 4 points and apply it to do a net break even on that trade, or you can just say screw it and see if it rolls, right? That setup will often lead to a pretty big roll. It's just very difficult to garner that end of day. I'd love them to pull the rug on these guys. But you can see how generally the principle already worked, right? We closed under our last set of buyers. We trapped these guys. Now we should get the roll to the downside. We'll see where that ends up closing out. It may take me till 15 after to get the trade. So either get stopped or get paid. So see how we got the response out of the low volume node there? And even if you're not taking that long, which by the way is a horrible trade location, just relative to your risk reward, right? You're betting we're going to actually close on the high of the day, which we may, but it's a bad bet. And of course, I'm betting that we'll sweep that low volume node. And that may be a bad bet too. And there's other factors that make shorting really difficult here, like the one timing to the upside, etc., etc. But that is pretty much picture perfect how to set up your trade, long and short. Come on, panic time. I would have done the exact same trade to the long side had it set up. It just didn't set up earlier. The other thing you can look at, this is a speed bar to the downside, right? So what does that tell you? They really tried hard to press. You can really see how you could have moved your stop behind here, then here. Now you can move your stop behind here if you want, right? Brings it in much tighter or to break even. And this is where end of day BS begins. So I may end up getting stopped out on this trade completely. But it's all right. The whole point was to demonstrate, right? The whole point was to demonstrate the setup, entry, exit, and then you have to manage, obviously we all have to manage our stops however we see appropriate or fit. That was, by the way, a backside test of the last delta push up, and we'll see where they end up pushing that out to. Everyone's very excited about buying this market. Very. Except for me. Because it's free fed money time again. Okay, now I want to talk about this for a second since I'm doing it live, right? So let's pretend this wasn't end of day and pretend I wasn't about to get stopped, which I probably am given it's end of day, right? If you want the trade to work its way down to this 14.12 and you're entering these trades based off structure and where you think the market might roll to, right? You have to be able to tolerate the trade going down, rolling back up against you, and then pushing. And where I see a lot of guys get into difficulty, right, is they don't want to scale here unless it's going to come back here. And they want to short here unless it's going to stop up here, right? So the way I usually suggest is you kind of scale as you go along and then fade back in. The trade is dead when you trade above 70.34. Yes. Does it sometimes tap above 70.34 and roll? Yeah. That's why you end up with multiple trade setups, right, through the course of the day, because no one has a 100% win rate. And that is exactly why you manage the trade the way you manage the trade, right? And then you just have to make a decision whether you're going to sit there and make it through the pain. But I'll tell you right now, if you're not going to suffer through getting this stop, which is a reasonable stop on NQ, right? If you're not going to make it through that stop, do yourself a big favor. Don't trade it, right? Because it's freaking heart attack time if you get it wrong, right? That's all I can say. Right? And if you're going to get upset over every stop, make sure you have enough leeway and you're leveraging it correctly so that you can take more than one trade, right? And then decide what you're going to cover. If this trade's a 4-point or 5-point trade for you, take the 5 points, right? I've already kind of called my target where I think we could possibly roll to, and then I'm also making a statement, right? I don't think we closed at the high of the day, and normally I would wait this out, right? And then the other thing I would do here is to see how we've pushed up there. I really don't want it trading above 70.27, so I could drag my stop behind that 70.27 now, because odds are if we close behind it, we're going to rip right to a new high at the end of the day. So size-wise, this has no impact on my day, but it gave me an opportunity to show the trade in real-time setup, right? And so now I'm hoping for a roll down. They've already done the let's pull it out of the low volume node game once. So now I just need a little bit of help. Don't know if I'll get it. And again, I can bring the stop to break even anytime I want. Just gonna let the trade play it out the way I would normally trade it had this not been right at the end of the day. It's 1 minute to go, so obviously, unless you like playing Russian roulette, you would cover the trade, right? Hopefully you took some points off, it didn't roll. Unless you're playing for after the market move, which, again, I almost never do. I'm just leaving the trade on for demonstration purposes. Incredible responsive buying in the market right now. One minute to the close, crazy algo time, and market's close. So let's see if they fall here the next minute. And there's probably earnings afterwards, so the stop's in place. But yesterday I think we whipped 40 points right after the close. At any rate, long story short, the trade obviously from 70.25, multiple opportunities to cover it profitably. So guys, does anyone have any questions over that? Was that helpful? Okay. By the way, whichever way we close over these two bars right here, that's where we probably rip one way or the other even after the close, right? We close underneath here, point of control underneath, stop goes behind that 28, roll to the downside, we close above this, right? Point of control above, stop goes underneath the 70.20, and you see they're end capping it with the fractals right here, right? So whichever side they end up closing that on, right? Whichever side they end up closing on, they're probably going to push one way or the other. That becomes your key area now. And now we end up with the lowest volatility after hours that we've had in a long time. Yesterday, what was it, 40 points up and down on Google's numbers? I guess someone's hoping for better than that. Come on down. Oh, thanks, Peter. You know what? Moving the stop to break even at 70.25. So no harm, no foul, right? And hopefully it rolls. So 70.25 is now the stop on the trade. If I was doing this correctly, I'd actually have it behind this at 70.28, but if they're not going to roll it, why lose money on it now? It's after hours, right? So hopefully they do push down here and we get the trade pulled off. I will take half of this, as tiny as it is, at 20. Limit 70.20 to cover half. Stops break even on the trade. So I basically need one more point. Almost there. Come on, don't stop. You can do it. $70.20 done on half. The other half is at break even. So just make sure I have my stops in place. Oh, look what we got. 70.16 limit for another quarter. How cool is that, guys? 70.16 done. Left on trailer. That's it. Again, cannot set that up any prettier. Peter, did you get any of that love? Little trade, but that was nice at the end of the day. I'm just going to go ahead and close that out. 16.50 flat. And that is how you do that. That was close enough for my target. 16.14 was the target. So I'll post that up so everyone can see how that setup should work. Again, so before I finish that, past performance not indicative of future results. This is for educational purposes only. And let's see if there was anything else. Don't short the last 10 minutes of the day. I normally would have never taken that trade. You just have no idea what they're going to pop out during earnings season. So let's just consider myself skilled in entry and lucky in exit. So that's my 2 cents. That's how we do it. Talk to you later, guys. Hold on one sec. Let's end this.